I know it smells crazy in there. Okay, you read the title. I hate clubs. Everybody's too close, everybody's breathing the same air, the floor is wet with sweat, and it smells like cheap cologne and desperation. Clubs are so pointless. I mean, for real. You want to drink? Buy drinks from the store. I should quickly clarify. I'm talking about water. If you want to drink water, because that's all you should be drinking. Anyway, you can drink at home. You like the club music? Search on YouTube for a club mix and play it at home. There's a lot of club mixes on YouTube. Pick one and play it on your own speakers. If you don't have speakers, play it from your TV. You can't play it on your TV? Play it from your phone or your laptop. Also, club music, depending on the club, is just 2010 replays and nostalgic music. You like the vibe? Turn off the lights, get LEDs. It's probably going to cost you less than $2 at the club anyway. Which, by the way, is ridiculous. How am I spending rent money on a few bottles at the club? If I buy it at the place where you buy water, they're going to be a fraction of the price. Okay, on a serious note though, even water is more expensive in the club. Like, bro, how do I go from 200 Rand for insert clear colored drink here to 400 or 600 Rand for the same insert clear colored drink here in a club? Not to mention, it's like $50 a shot, which, if I do my maths, and I know it's right, there's 17 shots in a bottle. That's 850 for the whole bottle. That was like 200 in the store. It's actual daylight robbery. It's borderline extortion. Not to mention they don't let you bring anything in unless it's solid substances. You know what? Screw it. I don't care. We like 3 whole minutes in. They let you bring drugs in if you can. Hide it and sneak it in. I'm not saying you should try, but I've seen chalk lines being done in the bathroom. I'm not talking about chalk. There's no way the squeaker snuck these in and the bouncer who pats you down didn't feel not even one of the 8 little baggies he has in his stupid skinny jeans pockets. They don't care so long as it's not alcohol. I'm not saying you should try sneak anything in. PSA, seriously, don't do drugs, kids, including weed. Smoking tree is not a good idea. And if you do ever smoke, don't drink too. Dealing with a person who's crossfaded is one of the most annoying things ever. Don't be that person who ruins everyone else's fun because you wanted to be crossfaded. On the topic of drinking, if you are drunk before getting to the club because you wanted to pre-drink and you are an alcoholic or a lightweight, either which way, put the cup down, Dave. I can't put down a cup. I can't put down the man. This is actually a really funny song. Pre-drinking is just so you can get warm, calm, and maybe a bit tipsy before you go out. Anyway, if you want to meet new people, or meet women for the boys in the chat, or meet guys for the girls in the chat, apparently you exist. You need a better way to meet people because the club is not the spot to be making friends. I'm not saying there is anything wrong with people at the club. I had a great convo with a girl at the club, but it started with my boy making out with the one friend she came with, and some other dude was trying to talk to her, and she was not with it. I slid in with the hey, sorry, I took long, who's this? Then introduced myself to the other guy and spoke to him till he caught the drift and moved on. Yo, don't ever do what I did, right? I made a judgment call, and I just so happened to be right. She looked a bit uncomfortable. Again, don't do what I do. Don't play superhero Prince Charming. You can step in if she tells him to get lost or leaves, and he obviously follows her and she's uncomfortable, right? Then cool, you can do it. If somebody needs your help, like please go and help them. If you can identify someone who's uncomfortable, like go and help them. But you need to see all the signs of there's a wiki how out there on the signs of seeing if someone is uncomfortable or not. Go read that. Second PSA over. Meeting people at the club is not the go-to. If you're looking for people, pick up a hobby like poetry, art, or cars and go to events in your area. There has to be an event. If you go alone and just start a convo with someone there, I'm guaranteed you'll find someone who actually messes with you and has other things in common with you. Like someone you actually vibe with and not only speaking to because you're the only non weird people at the club. Or, and this is a second suggestion, you can just start talking to your classmates and coworkers. I know there's older folks watching. The weather isn't the only convo you can have. On a different note, you shouldn't be in a club as an adult over the age of 28. And if you're over the age of 37, you need to stay at home. I'm sorry. You need to stay at home. If you don't go to your wife and kids and stop spending all this money around 20 something year olds, go home. So tell me why my dumbass was convinced by other 20-year-olds to go to one. Okay, story time. I've always wanted to do the club Ever since I saw story time on Vine, I've always wanted to say that. Okay, story time. So when I studied architecture, we had this thing where we did a fashion show, right? Based on a project they gave us about a building. Basically, you make clothes inspired by the research and architecture of the building they gave you. We do this little fashion show, and then our lecturers were like, we can bounce. Oh, also, this was like at 8 p.m. on a Friday night. When they said we could leave my boy, let's call him Lloyd. Yo, shout out Lloyd. Was like he wants to go to another homie's apartment. His name, for story's sake, will be Tommy. Where we were going to chill on this dude's rooftop, right? I was like, bet, and then we took a walk. His place was like in walking distance from the venue. Anyway, we get there. Tommy signs us in, and we go to his place, get some drinks, water, and other stuff I'm not mentioning on YouTube because I don't want to be flagged, and then go up to the rooftop. By the way, bro's rooftop is always busy. Imagine a frat party, but everyone is on shrooms and things are a lot slower. Basically, it's always a vibe, right? It's really cool. So we go to the rooftop and we chilling up there, making jokes, listening to music, and vibing out. Then another homie from our class calls my boy, and he's like, "They going to the club, and we should pull up." At first, I'm like, "Nah," and I agreed to go. We call an Uber. I didn't have a car back then. I was broke. Jump in the whip and go to this club. We get to the club, meet the boys outside, and we like six dudes. That's when I start stressing. I should have probably mentioned by now that I have some serious issues with crowds. I get very paranoid. When I say very paranoid, I mean very paranoid. But I thought, screw it, we here, let's power through, make the most out of it, let's do this. We get to the club doors, and the bouncer checks our pockets. And then he checks IDs, and bro checked mine twice. Just so, by the way, I have a baby face and zero facial hair, but I still look at least 20. Like, bro is out of pocket for checking it twice. Anyway, he let us in, and the wave of people hit me like a brick. And we didn't even make it to the dance floor before I decided to turn back and walk out. Bro, I'm being so serious. I started hyperventilating outside and had to take my asthma pump. One random girl was really sweet though. She came to check on me before the boys came out looking for me. She was really nice. Back to the story. I take the pump, build some courage, and I'm like, okay, let's go back in. When I went back in, one of the homies, we'll call this one Zane, legit went straight to a random chick and started sucking face like crazy. Yes, I call kissing the sucking face. In the time between us coming in and me going out of the club, bro found a chick, spoke to her, and now has his tongue deep in her throat. I'm not even joking. I'm watching in amazement because when, how, and why. Tommy was like, it's always like this when they go out. I personally love monogamy and commitment. But hey, you do you. Anyway, I stopped watching bro suck face and start dancing with some randoms, right? Like five of us were just following this one white dude's moves and singing along to the song. After like three songs, Tommy and another homie go to the bar. One homie, let's call him Kush, goes to the bathroom and Lloyd went out for a phone call. So it's just me and Zane, who is still sucking face. And I'm not watching that. So I started shifting around in this crowd of people. Mind you, I'm not small, but I am short. So I'm just an inconvenience walking up and down. So I go chill in a corner and vibe out to the music. Oh, the club is small, by the way. Like, small. The corner is still the dance floor. Like, 5 steps away from where we were standing, which was 5 steps away from the door. Anyway, I'm vibing out, and this gay dude, don't ask me how I know, starts dancing and singing the song. And then another dude joins our little dance. Then, like, three chicks and one other dude. Before I know, it's like 10 people getting super hype over Starships by Nicki Minaj. Which the gay dude, was singing word for word, bar for bar. I just jumped in at the Starships were meant to fly. You know what I'm talking about. Quick tangent. Nicki Minaj is a goated rapper. Just by the way, the woman is talented. Unlike Cold Paprika, for those of you who know who Riot is, he deserves a better artist. And Pink Panther should have been more famous. Random tangent over. So we're getting hyped, and one of the girls brush up against me. I get a little uncomfortable, and the paranoia kicks back in, and I quietly leave the little circle we made and book it for the door. Lucky for me, the boys were gathered together at the door and waiting for me and Kush. And straight after that, we went to the club next door because it wasn't as packed, right? Safe to say, Zayn and his new Miss Thing haven't stopped making out and were doing it in the stamp line outside. Finally get to the front of the line. No joke, it took 10 minutes. I'm not even playing with you. The line was 10 minutes long. You have no clue how long 10 minutes is when you're waiting. It's actually random tangent. It's actually crazy how time suddenly moves very slow when you're waiting. Well, no. Time moves slower when you're in anticipation of something. That's why when your mom says she's gonna tell your dad when you get home, suddenly the 5 minute car ride feels like 5 hours. The anticipation messes with your perception of time. Or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. Or what would that even be called? Chronocologist? A time doctor? I mean, the study is called chronometry. It's called, it's also called horology. A horologist? Anyway, so we get to the front of the line and the bouncer stamps everyone's arm. We go in and we're just standing and vibing out to the music play. Zayn and his wife at this point are in the corner, lip locking like there's no tomorrow. Like we get it. You're like the taste of each other's tongues. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop complaining about it now. I'll stop. I heard myself. I'll stop. I look behind me and there's a chick sitting with three friends looking in our direction. Now, I didn't mention this, but one of my boys, we will call him Jeff, is 6'2", a real gym bro, a light skin with short locks. Not to mention, the cloud arm sleeve. I've literally seen a girl stare at him. I'm not even joking. I nudge him to look over at her, chilling with her friends, checking him out, right? Then we start making jokes, saying things like, you should be the leader and you should start separating the group to individuals so we can speak to them all separately. Quick sidebar. This isn't a random tangent, it's a sidebar. This is something new. I wasn't feeling anybody there, but I was completely prepared to take one for the team, for the vibes of being out. You know what I'm saying? I really am a team player. Also, I've never ran a three-man before, so it kind of started sounding exciting, you know? Sidebar over, back to the story. He keeps saying nah because he doesn't want to lead anyone on. And what if word reaches his girl, XYZ? Oh, yeah, by the way, it was in a relationship. But he didn't have to flirt or anything. Just run distractions for the three of us, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, Jeff caves, but before we could even make a move toward them, another friend of ours pulls up. We go outside to meet up with him. He gets a little arm stamp, and we go back inside. At this point, we were just jumping around, making noise for the next hour or so. Eventually, inform us that the club is closing soon. So we decided to walk out the club and we ran into Zayn. And he was still tongue deep in that girl. Okay, I'm done. I'm done again. I'm done. And her friend was sitting awkwardly next to them. I walked over, said hi. The friend, we will call her Lacey. Lacey and I start talking. Then, after about 5 minutes of me talking to Lacey, Zayn comes up for air and says he's gonna buy food and offered to get for his new wife and Lacey. Lacey's like she's good, and he went to buy the food. Now, I should say I'm a great wingman, right? And an even better liar. Look, it's not something you should be proud of. However, when you're good at it, you're good at it. So I start hyping Zayn up, right? Lying through my teeth. Sidebar, this is one of those bad decisions. I regret lying to Lacey because she was super cool and I could have just been honest with her. And who knows, maybe we could have been friends. Like, no. On a serious note, Lacey was really cool. And also, BTW, don't start lying to random people because what if you meet them later in life? Just be honest. Honesty is still the best policy. It doesn't matter how you want to see it. Anyway, sidebar over. Back to the story again. Now, I'm lying to Lacey like crazy. I said I finished high school at 17, studied law at first, then I hated it, switched to aeronautics after doing a short bridging course, then I hated that, then jumped into architecture, and that I was 21. At the time, I was 19. She either believed me or went with it for the vibes. Thank you, random interests. It makes great lies. Zayn comes back, we start chopping it up again. He's talking to his wife again. The boys are standing on the side, having their own convo. I'm still lying through my teeth. And eventually we decide to go. So we go to Zayn, Kush, and Jeff's place with Zayn's wife and Lacey. It was like much closer than where I was staying. We get there and we hang out for like 2 hours. Then the girls decide to go home and Lloyd and I decide to bounce too. So we call an Uber and shove Tommy in the car with us and get to his place at like 4:30. This is 4:30 in the morning. I'm usually out by 11:30. We get to Res. I still have to walk from the place where our Uber driver drops us off all the way to the second building, up 2 flights of stairs, and then down the hallway to get to my room. I open the door. My roommate comes out of his room because he was on his way to the bathroom and he's asking me, is this the time I'm coming back? Like he was my father. And when I get to my room, like literally open the door and go in and stand in front of my bed, I look at the time and it's 5:15 a.m. Story over. Wow, that was a long story. I didn't have a great time, which wasn't the boys' fault. I just don't like clubs, right? And it's just sad that I had to learn it that late. I've never been to a club since almost went for a girl not too long ago, but it never happened, so I didn't go. Moral of the story, don't lie to people for fun, be a good wingman, eat before you drink, and you don't have to go to a club. Go bowling or something. I'm done complaining about clubs. Lacey, you will never see this and you'll never know that I'm talking about you, but I do kind of miss you. Anyway, like I said, that's been me. Go outside, touch grass, talk to people, live your best life, have experiences, and buenos dias.